What's the, is your razor broken, or
You what?
is your razor broken? Looks like you're growing it longer.
I can't cut my hair, so I figure why
Look
not.
at all that.
He started it.
Yeah.
Grizzly Adams over.
How's the roof coming?
Slow.
Yeah.
They keep running into problems. Well, it fell through the backside twice, so.
They fall through the roof? Third time's charm.
Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We don't have anyone here today, but maybe this will be the last time we have to do this. Maybe the next meeting, we will be able to have our regular agenda format. The first thing on the agenda is the mayor's report, and I will admit that I wrote this report thinking that the governor wouldn't have his guidelines done today and out, but as I found out, he does. So I'm going to modify my comments. I'm going to first tell you that we have no active cases in Gasconade County. We have 2 cases and no active cases, no deaths, of course. The stay-at-home Missouri order is still in effect until next Sunday night. It's the same as always, it hasn't changed. We have no COVID-19 cases in Gasconade County. Headline is unfortunate. We don't know that. We have about 15,000 people in the county, and we've tested somewhere between 200, 300, or 400 of them. So we really don't know. I hope we have none. The governor has just issued his guidelines, which I'm going to go over in a minute. They will go into effect at 1 minute past 12 of Monday morning. Now the responsibility shifts to us. He has loosened his restrictions and we're all encouraging businesses to slowly resume in a responsible way, and the responsibility for that is on us and the business owners. We must remain safe. The citizens and business people of Herman can rest assured that their mayor and aldermen will do our very best to evaluate and work with the governor's office, as well as the county health department and county commission, to craft the best possible plan, incorporating the best possible combination of safety for our community and opportunity for our businesses to reopen. Both the citizens and the businesses must step up and take a hand in keeping us safe. One thing we can be certain of is that we must work together. Citizens, businesses, we must look out for each other. We must be good neighbors and have empathy for each other. Now is the time to remember the golden rule. Everyone must look out for the safety of everyone else. Citizens, wash your hands, wear your mask, wear gloves, practice effective social distancing. Businesses, consider your customers and their safety, as well as the safety of the residents of Herman who may come in contact with them. Everyone, if you don't like a place because you think it's not safe, don't go in there. If you're concerned about other people wearing a mask, you should be more concerned that you have one on. Everybody take responsibility. We're not out of this yet. Remember that when you consider your customers and your citizens, fellow citizens, they're your neighbors, they're your relatives, they're your church friends, they're your children's playmates. We're not out of it yet. I'm cutting through some of this because it pertained to the upcoming guidelines, which are out now. I'm going to start and read some of the guidelines in case you don't know or don't have access to these. I'll start with the business guidelines. The Show Me Strong Recovery Plan requires citizens to maintain 6 feet of social distancing space in most cases. There are certain situations that require additional procedures to protect businesses, communities, and citizens. Always refer to the health order itself, and I've put copies of this and copies of the health order itself on my Facebook page. The actual words, not any interpretation. Prepare to implement basic infection prevention measures informed by industry best practices regarding protective equipment, now this is for businesses, temperature checks, testing, isolating, and contact tracing and sanitation, including disinfection of common and high-traffic areas, entrances, break rooms, locations where there is high-frequency employee interaction with the public or customers. Modify physical workspaces to maximize social distancing. Minimize business travel. Develop an infectious disease preparedness and response plan, including policies and procedures for workforce contact tracing when an employee tests positive for COVID-19. Monitor workforce for indicative symptoms. Do not allow symptomatic people to physically return to work until cleared by a medical provider. Develop, implement, and communicate about workplace flexibilities and protections, including encouraging telework whenever possible, returning to work in phases and/or split shifts if possible, limiting access to common areas where personnel are likely to congregate, and ensuring that sick leave policies are flexible and consistent with public health guidance. Social distancing requirements shall apply in all situations, including but not limited to when customers are standing in line or individuals are using shared indoor or outdoor spaces. Social distancing requirements do not apply to individuals performing job duties that require contact with other people closer than 6 feet. They should take enhanced precautionary measures to mitigate the risk of contracting or spreading COVID-19. Retail businesses shall limit the number of individuals in any particular location. Consult the health order and frequently ask questions for additional details. Restaurants may offer dining-in services but must adhere to social distancing and other precautionary public health measures. Tables must be spaced at least 6 feet apart. Communal seating areas for parties that are not connected are prohibited. In other words, you can't have a big banquet table and take 4 or 5 groups of people and set them at the same table if they're not related. There can be no more than 10 people at a single table. The continued use of drive-through pickup or delivery options is encouraged. People shall not visit nursing homes, long-term care facilities, retirement homes, or assisted living homes unless to provide critical assistance or end-of-life circumstances. These are guidelines for communities. Some will be done by individuals, some by the Department of Gaston County Health Department, and others by cities and counties. The Show Me Strong Recovery Plan requires citizens to maintain 6 feet of social distancing in most cases. There are certain situations that require additional procedures to protect businesses, communities, and citizens. Refer to the health order. Closely monitor and track the containment, spread, and any resurgence of COVID-19 and adjust plans as necessary. That, I believe, will be addressed by the health department. Limit situations where citizens cannot maintain social distancing. Movies, things of that sort, sporting events. So that they are asking us to limit those. Facilitate widespread testing of symptomatic and asymptomatic citizens. I understand that they have the equipment now to test everyone in a nursing home, including the people that work there. This is a health department issue. Work to protect the most vulnerable populations, the elderly and the very young people, or people that are immune compromised and can't fight this very well. Local authorities may issue additional orders consistent with the state health order. That's us, that's a county, and that is the health department. Individuals may go to and from a place of worship, provided that limitations on social distancing are properly adhered to. The recent, yesterday we received a communication from Monsignor Higley that talks about social distancing, and he's going to put into place distancing inside the church, so they'll be able to open up, but they're going to have to probably have more masks so they can accommodate everyone and maintain compliance with this policy. Schools shall remain closed for the remainder of the 2019-2020 academic school year, and summer school may proceed under guidelines as set forth by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. I'm not going to read the two-page order itself, but this is the final say on how things are, what it means and so forth. It does cover the nursing homes, it does cover retail sales to the public, and goes into some detail as to how big the space needs to be and so forth, and how many people are allowed in there. It does cover, as I said, the schools. It does cover restaurants. It does not cover bars that I've seen. It does not cover transportation. Those are areas where people get put together in close proximity. But there are more coming, so I'm going to assume the guidelines are, those will be forthcoming. That's my report. Mark, do you have anything?
According to the agenda, we discussed the annual wastewater rate increase. We are going to be about $10,000 short, I believe, in what we need to break even. Talking to Joey McCliney and others, he gave us a number. I believe it was 70 cents per connection, or we could spread that over the gallons of wastewater over the year. I've done some preliminary, I think probably some of you have too, but looks like to me on average year we would have to, the current rate is 0.00039 per gallon. This increase would make it 0.0004 per gallon if we spread it over the gallons.
Yeah, I looked at it, and I think Joey has the wrong number of hookups. We looked at this, and I believe he has 1354,
Yeah, that's wrong.
and it's
He's about 100 too high.
It's 1291,
Right.
which actually works. And it's also worked, we've worked it on 4,000 gallons as an average. So, if you do that, it comes out to 0.645 per gallon per month. Oh no, 0.64, it comes out to 64.5 cents per customer, and I believe it's 0.004 or whatever. Trish has the number. It just depends on how the board wants to do it. Either way, I think it's something we're going to have to do every year. Trish, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, it's just, this came about because last year this time, if you'll recall, when we got to looking at the rates, they had not been raised in 3 years, and we had to do a significant raise. It was $2 to the user fee, and then from 0.0036 to 0.0039 per gallon. So at that time, you all decided to look at these every single year in order to do a really small raise every year rather than a big one every 3 or 4 years. So that's why we're doing this, and I've already allotted for that revenue in the draft budget. So really what we need to decide is how you would like to charge it, either the 65 or 70 cents per user in the base, the service availability fee, or the per gallon. Either way will work.
That 65 to 70% per user, that's per month.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is controlled by the bond issue, correct?
That's right, thank you. Yes, it is so that we're in our bond rate covenant. We have to bring in the $1.10 for every $1 of debt after our expenses. So this will just make us right at the threshold.
This is not a rate increase that we decided to make. It's a bond covenant requirement that we maintain a reserve
Well,
electricity.
I understand that, but not everyone does.
That's why I
wanna
made the mention.
Now, last year, didn't we make a mistake with this and not go high enough? We came up
We
short.
didn't go soon enough.
What?
We didn't do it soon enough. Yeah,
And we're doing it soon enough now?
yes.
Okay, because I don't want that to happen
Me
again.
neither.
How soon do we need to do this?
We need to pass it before, July 1, so
Okay.
Is there any discussion, more discussion, or Dave, do you want to, what does the board want to do on this?
Which way is easiest for bookkeeping as far as which way you charge? Does it make a difference or,
it doesn't really.
calculations or anything that save you time?
Do you care?
The only,
No, it's all figured in.
Okay, well, I didn't know if there was an easier way for.
But it's gonna be
for the girls
six,
to-
well, half dozen of it.
it all comes to $10,000.
Right.
It's
That's
all
what we
programmed
need.
in governmental, so it doesn't make any difference.
Right.
I mean, I'm good with either way, guys.
Jim, do you have any preference?
Not kind of like what Dave said, we need it, and how we split it up, would that be 65 cents added to the
Base charge.
Base
base charge? Then that would be it, or we could break it down per gallon usage?
Yep. Either way. The gallon usage is very, very small. Increases, I forgot what it was off the top of my head. But it comes,
0.0001.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, it's very small.
what was it again?
It was 0.0039, they're gonna up it to 0.0040, so
Yeah, it's very small.
0.0001.
It depends, it's up to you. Bruce, do you have any preference? Or?
No, that's why I asked if one was better than the other as far as bookkeeping was about.
Do we want to go ahead and vote on that tonight, or you want to think about it some more?
We'll have to, if you can tell me what you want to do, and then Dave will have to put it in form of an ordinance for the next meeting.
Okay, so we need just really to get a,
Decide which way we want to
Just-
do it.
I'm thinking we ought to go per gallon.
Seems to me that would be the fairer way.
That way we got it on record that we did increase the cost per gallon. Or if we add it to the base rate, it may be more complicated. But
well, in the per gallon, in favor of that, it's a little fairer, because the people that use a whole lot are gonna pay more, and the people that don't hardly use any won't have to pay as much, so
I
it's a
believe
fair.
that's the better way to go, and I would make
Pay
a
as you
motion.
go.
Is that okay?
Fine.
I would say.
It looks like it's unanimous to go with the per gallon. Thanks, everybody.
Could I ask, Trish, that's just gonna break us even? Okay. No, and we don't need any.
No, that's no margin, that's just
Right, okay.
exact,
But that will be enough for you.
as long as we don't, go over our expenditures that we allot, yes, that'll be enough.
And she'll make sure we don't.
I, sometimes you guys.
If that starts to happen, come to each one of us personally and tell them.
You've been pretty good.
Okay, we have an ordinance to read. Dave, would you like to read that for us, please?
Okay. Bill number 2020-09 on for first reading would be an ordinance to approve a Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission Airport Aid Agreement.
Basically, our portion of a design phase of the airport grant.
Is that an apron deal?
Yes, the apron. This is our portion of the engineering.
And how much is that, you guys?
$6,853.
And we get out of this, how much was the grant?
61.
Well, the actual grant project right now is about $700,000.
Right, and we will have some more
And we
to
will.
pay.
This is just for the
Just
engineering.
gets us going.
Engineering, yes.
Okay, any further discussion on that, or?
Well, as I understand it, we're bound by law since, through the Department of Transportation to maintain this thing, so we have to do it. So, I move to approve, I move it first read, excuse me.
I'll second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried on first reading. We'll wait. We don't have a rush on that, do we?
No, please.
All right, the next is bill number 2020-10 for first reading. An ordinance to authorize the execution of a contract for solid waste collection and disposal by and between the City of Herman, Missouri and Tri-County Trucking and Excavating, Inc.
And Mark, this is our annual,
Yeah, is it a 5-year or a 3-year? 5-year.
It's actually, it's a 3-year contract with an additional 3 years extension if we
Option.
chose to.
I'd like to, before I forget it, remind everybody that the big trash day is Saturday. I believe it's Saturday. And it's a big deal, so if you got something to throw out,
Please do it.
please do it. And all the folks that are gonna, please don't bring things from outside. The things that are bringing from outside the city, we're paying for, they're usually things that are extremely hard to carry away, and it creates a lot of problems.
And if you get caught doing it, there's a good chance you're gonna get a ticket. And an even better chance that trash isn't gonna get picked up. So please, everybody, follow the rules.
Okay, Dave, did we read that, or?
Actually, could I note
Sure.
that in the bid, just the public might like to know that Tri-County is proposing no increases for the next fiscal year, which is great. And then the following year would be a 3% increase, and the subsequent year a 4% increase.
And in the past, what have the increases been?
I don't have all that in front of me, but it's always like 3 or 4%.
Right, so they're not out of line.
No.
They're not making, they're very good people to work with. Very good. If we ask them to pick something up or move something or do something, I can't remember them saying no, so. Dave, did you read it? I interrupted. Okay. It's read. Do we have any further discussion? Motion?
I will, go ahead.
I make a motion that we approve Bill 2020-10 for first reading.
Now second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion's carried on first reading. That doesn't require a second reading, does it, Trish?
No.
Okay, we have the, moving on to old business, the Calabite poll attachment and franchise fees. Dave, what is the status on that?
The status on that is, the ball's in my court on that, really. The last correspondence we had with Calabite, or that I had, was actually with Calabite's attorney, who is advising Calabite that, in his opinion, it's not legal to charge a gross receipts fee, or have a charge connected with receipts, even though the ordinance that we passed that Calabite looked at and approved in draft form before we passed it, and approved in writing by letter from Calabite's president after we passed it, clearly has 2 or 3 lines in it that says that this is what we are going to do. And in my opinion, it is legal, so we just need to wrestle with them on that and get back on that, honestly.
What should, in your opinion, should I write a letter with an invoice and attach an invoice, and then call Tom?
Or write a letter with an invoice, and then let me enclose that with a letter from me
Okay.
that has some legal citations in it, saying, close, please find the city's bill, which you need to pay per the following. I think that would be the way to go.
Okay. I'll do that tomorrow. Thank you. Transfer ownership of KVA poles and maintenance to Central Electric. Let me say something here. We're not selling these poles. There may be some confusion that we're selling the poles. We're not selling them. We do not have the ability, and stop me if I'm wrong, Mark, we don't have the ability to service these poles. We don't have equipment to handle poles this size. There aren't very many of them. Last time we had a couple, 2 or 3 break, it cost us, what, $80,000 or?
Yes.
$80,000, and most of that was not the cost of the poles, although they're expensive, but it was getting somebody in here to.
Which was Central. You came
Well,
in
and it's
fixed it.
Central.
Right.
So our idea was, why don't we let them, they would like to own the poles, why don't we let them have the poles in exchange for perpetual service on the poles and our ability to use the poles for whatever we want to do. So we're not actually selling. And that'll come up again in a little bit. But what's the latest from the legal end of that? Anything?
The latest was me sending their attorney, her name is Sarah Gibney, my opinion that the transfer of ownership of this section of line would not require us to put it on a ballot and get a vote of the people. As she was concerned, there's a section or a statute that says whenever you sell your utilities or get rid of them, you have to let the people vote on it, but this is just a stretch of line from there to there. And she hasn't responded to that yet.
It's not really a sale anyway, so I think we just need to get moving on it, and I think she'll
Yeah,
be.
she just needs a reminder, I believe, to get back.
Would you follow up and see where she stands on that?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any other old business that anybody wants to bring up? If not, let's move to new business. You have one?
I do. I'm having a problem here in town, that, Jim and I are awarded mostly residential. I find it very hard to believe if anybody sitting at this table could tell me that they did not have one of these complaints, and that is trailers sitting on our city streets and residential areas. Our current ordinance says no parking of farm equipment, boat trailers, camping trailers, pickups and slide-in campers, large trucks, RVs, utility trailers, and similar vehicles. You cannot park them on a residential street. People are parking them on residential streets. When this was written, I don't think anybody ever really took into how much the utility trailer craze would take effect. They're handy, they're inexpensive, there's a good way to haul stuff without messing up your vehicle. But our city streets are not the place to store them. Our ordinance says no. No, we've got three choices here. We can tell the man at the back of the room here, enforce it. We can get rid of the ordinance, or we can modify it to make it a little more palatable, and I would like to go that route. It's selectively enforced, if you get a complaint, they do something about it, and I really don't have a problem with that, but people do a lot of camping nowadays. They own boats. They can't store them at their houses. So if they're gonna go out on the weekend, they'll go up on a Friday to their storage areas and pull these vehicles out. They'll take them to the house, get them ready to go, then spend the night in front of their house, and they'll go the next morning. When they come back, they put it back where they had it to begin with. I know at least one person who got told to move his vehicle in that particular instance, and I'm sure there was a complaint. No officer was doing anything wrong. But I see absolutely no problem with a legally licensed vehicle sitting in front of a person's house overnight. You might want to make it 24 hours. As long as they're not blocking someone else's property and the street is wide enough so that's not restricting. Everybody knows we got some pretty narrow streets in this town. Hopefully by the time the streets are all fixed, a lot of that will be alleviated. But you can't have a trailer on both sides of the street and only room for one car to get through. One, that's wrong. Two, our emergency vehicles will have a problem with that. These little utility trailers, they've got lights on them and stuff, but you sit one of them little black utility trailers on a dark street and somebody comes down that street, that was one of my big complaints, Dave, I almost hit that thing. There aren't any reflectors and from different angles and stuff. They're hard to see at night. I think when people buy these, they don't give a lot of thought to what they're gonna do with them after they buy them, but they can't leave them sitting on our city streets. There are several companies in town that are running businesses from their home. Don't have a problem with that, but they cannot leave those vehicles sitting in front of their house continuously, especially on a narrow street. I'm not here tonight to ask you guys to do anything. I'm asking you to consider this at the next meeting, and I'll bring it up again. If you guys have any and all ideas on this, I'm happy to hear them. I think we need to try and find a way to make this ordinance work for everybody. Just today, I passed a pontoon boat sitting on a residential street, and it ain't a little one. It was a vehicle and a half wide sitting there. It's legally licensed, but it doesn't belong there, and it's not hitched to a vehicle. They didn't have it sitting there getting ready to go tomorrow morning. It's just parked there, and that's getting more and more prevalent around town. So we need to find a way to make this work.
Do you have ideas on how to?
Well, basically, legally licensed trailer or whatever, you know, it could be a boat on a trailer or a camping trailer, whatever, parked behind a legally licensed vehicle in front of your own property. Everybody knows where their property line is. You don't encroach on your neighbor's property or driveways or anything else. 24 overnight, I don't have a problem with that. I actually think it's a good idea. People want to go out. That's fine, you're getting your vehicle ready to go the next day. But I would say 24 hours. That's just a thought on my part. I'll listen to anything. I don't have this carved in stone. I'm looking for ideas.
Is this for trailers that haul stuff too, or just campers?
Well, I would think anything you're gonna use the next day, as long as it's legally licensed. Anything you're gonna pull needs to be hitched behind a legally licensed vehicle. That's my idea. I'm I'm throwing some ideas out there.
Are you asking the other aldermen to?
Yeah, to think about this, in the next meeting, you know, we can discuss it again, brainstorm a little.
Another part of that ordinance says anything over 18,000 pound vehicle not to operate on those streets if there's another alternative passage. And that would go to storage. And I know there's locations where trucks have been sitting for 6 months, 9 months. They're licensed, but they have not moved.
But in another instance on this, I know a couple people that are engaged in agriculture that have to go somewhere with one of these trailers hauling cattle, hauling bales, whatever. And they come back through town to go back to their farm that's way out in the country, or they come back in the evening. They park it there and they take that trailer back the next morning. As I said, it's a case of a legally licensed vehicle attached to a legally licensed trailer in front of their own property overnight. I really don't, as long as the street isn't constricted, I don't really have a problem with that.
Don't we have a provision now that if they want to, they can go to Mark for $5 and get a license, permit, I mean?
Well, I don't think that's been really
I don't
published
know,
out there.
nobody's ever done it, but we talked about it.
I've done it once.
That's, I think that's more for commercial, isn't it?
It has to be like semis and stuff. This
Well,
is-
it's any kind of a commercial
One thing,
vehicle, I think.
intent, what Dave talked about, I know was brought up by me also, is these vehicles are wider than a regular vehicle, car or pickup truck at times, and it's narrowing down the drive lanes.
There are streets in this town with
East
just
and
a
west.
passenger
Right.
vehicle on both sides of the street. You can't hardly pass two cars.
And Schiller Street's a prime example.
Yes, it is.
My street.
No,
Right, your street too.
Fifth Street in a few spots.
We have a lot of, I don't think it matters which ward you're in, if it's a residential neighborhood, or maybe do you wanna include commercial, that they can't be parked?
Commercial's always, you know, it's been allowed, that's used for a commercial district.
Okay,
Of course, you have places where it's residential on one side of the street, commercial on the other.
right, well, in front of your own home,
But the provision should be in there that it cannot restrict traffic.
Right.
You know, if you've got two of these vehicles parked directly across from each other on a residential street, you'd be lucky to get one vehicle through there.
and you have I also can see, I hadn't thought about it, but some of these small utility trailers that don't have reflectors, and they're usually painted black anyway, and you can easily run up on one of those, and really.
I don't know of any being hit, but I've had several complaints about just that. Said we were on before we realized it, you know, they swerved over. What happened if the vehicle's coming the other way?
Well, yeah,
Something I might want to tack onto that, because I had it down to talk about, could be brought up similarly, and Alderman Ferber brought it up a few months ago, Alderman Linger brought it up, is dumpsters. Would that fit into this area, being parked on streets?
well, if they've got a building permit, I mean, if they're remodeling something, I don't have a problem with the dumpster parked there for the time period of that.
And they're usually not there for an extended period.
Well, there was one there for a while.
There's one on Third Street there that's been there for a while, but they're doing a renovation.
But if the building permit's expired, the dumpster needs to go.
That one's been on Third Street for close to a year.
that's a different one, I think. No, you renovate, you're
Tri
right.
County won't
The
put
one
it
he's
in the
talking-
driveway.
Excuse me?
Tri-County will not put a dumpster in a driveway because they're afraid they'll break up the driveway,
Well,
so.
my point there
they
is
won't go
it's
there.
happening quite often. I understand the construction, they put a new roof on my house. They put a dumpster on the backside in my backyard to throw the shingles in. And that's cool, but should we, and I think most of them through Tri-County, but could we get from them that John Doe rented this dumpster is gonna be, and if it's gonna be placed on the city street, then we have a right to say so. But
Well, that especially would be the place for that permit they're talking about from our traffic officer.
if it's right away to park on the street, but I think we should specify it should go upon their own personal property. Now, if they don't have room, 'cause a lot of the alleys are narrow and they have to pick it up and dump them. But if it goes
But
on
you
the
have,
city
you have a
street.
problem with, like she said, Tri-County. You don't wanna go in driveways because of messing up the infrastructure underneath the way to the trucks. And you don't want them backing up over your curb
They
and
don't wanna go on
sidewalk.
sidewalks either.
So I mean, you
Yeah, I
know,
mean-
Don't
I,
put it on grass either because they can't lift it, it sinks and
Right.
they can't get it
Yeah,
out of there, so.
I-
it
I
has
don't
to
think
sit on
the
the
dumpster
street.
issue is that
Two
big of a deal
dumpsters.
myself, you know.
They're across the street from each other. They're beside the barber shop on East Third Street. A yellow one over here, a green one over here.
It's been there
That's
a
no
long
worse
time.
than trailers.
Shit.
Well, I would think that permit you guys are talking about would probably be a real good place for that, and it would come with a time limit.
At least you- yeah, you know.
30-day time limit.
You know about it too. Dave, could you put dumpsters in the same ordinance if you wanna, or would it be better not to?
You could put them in the same ordinance.
And we're not trying to keep anybody from using one, it's just leaving one there longer than absolutely necessary.
Because once you put them out there for public's gonna throw garbage and trash in there.
And they'd have to sit there for at least a month because that's their charge, they're charged per
A
month.
month is
so-
not a lot.
You know, that's what we could put in there for dumpsters is a 30-day.
But you know, it
But
probably
some of
should,
these projects you can't get done in 30 days.
no, it shouldn't.
That's, Mark can give a permit for whatever length. of time
Whatever
They
the
just
time
gotta
is.
renew it.
Construction permit, don't you think? If it's 6 months, shouldn't it be?
Well, I mean, you know, that's up to the, it depends on whether it's a contractor coming in and he's got a time limit, or if it's an individual that is investing in a property and wants to restore the property and is doing it pretty much by themselves. They're working a full-time job, they're working on the weekends and at night. I mean, you know, I think every situation presents its own problem.
And that's why I said they can,
One-offs.
they can ask for
Draw a line
all
and say, this is it, you know, and then God,
That
public.
one was on 6th and Washington. They Mark got a hold and got it moved. Well, they pulled it over on 7th Street and set it for about 2 weeks. Now it's gone again, so I don't know where it went to, but.
Maybe they got it
I think
finished.
if we just give a time limit of how long you think you're gonna need to use it, they can do the permit thing, and if it is a whole year, as long as we know and they're,
If it ties
But if they
in,
need to renew it for a longer period of time, that's fine, but,
Well, the main thing, purpose of the best part of a permit is you know how many there are and what's out there.
it's not, we're gonna charge for that permit, but it gives us, because it is sitting on city right away, the street, taking away parking spaces. So I do see, you know, like I said, go down East Third Street, there's 2 on the 200 block and 1 on the 100 block. There's 3 dumpsters on East Third Street.
Within 2 blocks. And you know, Bruce, if it's gonna take 3 years, or the guy says, I don't know how long it's gonna take. Give him a year and then renew it for a year, it's free. At least you know that when people call and say, what's the deal with that? You can say, well, they have a permit and they're reconstructing the house there. It's gonna take a while. And they've told us it's a multi-year thing. You'd at least be able to tell people.
It keeps us in the loop of knowing what's happening upon our property.
And I think you need to consider other people throwing garbage in there that's gonna start a smell or something.
Yep.
I mean, you're gonna get those complaints occasionally, so that needs to be something to consider.
that was a
Sure.
complaint on the one at 6th and Washington.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you guys just think about that the next time we meet,
Will do.
we can bring it up again.
One other new thing I was gonna mention that, there is free Wi-Fi in the swimming pool parking lot area. I pulled down in there and it works, and I was gonna ask about signs, but I see Calabate's already got signs up and also in front of the city office building. So it's up and running.
Calabite decided to do that during this lockdown for people who needed to have good access and didn't have it at their house. They provided this free.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I
that's
guess
great.
that is good. I think that there were a couple places in town where people were just driving and parking. And the neighbors wondered who they are, why are they there? And it was creating some concerns. Maybe they weren't justified, but concerns.
Also under old bid, you wanna give an update on that AT&T tower?
All I can tell you, I was up there today and they're still grinding away with that big auger.
Well, if noise is progress, they're making a lot of progress.
They did some really solid stuff there, and they're not making much progress, but they're not gonna give up.
Okay, I just,
They're not gonna have to blast, are they?
No, they won't. They'll just keep grinding and changing the teeth on their auger.
Yeah, that's gonna cost.
Yeah.
Man, that
Okay.
thing's rattling.
Well, I went up there and you can't see, when they're not working, you can't see progress from day to day, because there must be in that same,
no, I was
it's
just,
just grinding away. So, yeah, I hope they get that they break.
just so the public knew.
There's
Right.
one more thing I'd like to just mention. I know it's not gonna make some people happy, but, use of personal emails for city business. I think we need to use the CenturyTel network. 'Cause by using personal emails, now that email, your email, everybody is now part of the Sunshine Law. And just think back here in 2016, one of the candidates running for president, they went in and confiscated her computer. They had to track all the emails. Yours guys that use your private email fall into that.
Well,
No.
the reason I've been on mine is because when I became an alderman, there was a problem, and I absolutely could not access the city one. Now, everybody out there, all my constituents, and it's a matter of public record, have my personal email address, and that's who they email. They wouldn't know to email me on the other one. I mean, I don't have a problem with it,
Dave,
Jim, but
what
it's
is-
gonna cause more confusion there.
What's the rule on that? Is, if you use a personal email, is that your personal business, or does it go, you know,
Well, I think it depends on the email.
right,
And as we've discussed before, if the nature of the email makes it a public record because it includes everybody, it doesn't matter if it's on your city-issued email address or your personal one, it's gonna be a public record. If the city were, you know, I think I think it's more a matter of convenience. You know, if the city was involved in a lawsuit and the plaintiff's lawyer asked for copies of any and all emails between the aldermen regarding this topic, or copies of any and all emails between the aldermen, if you had a dedicated city email where there was nothing but city emails, it'd make it a lot easier to respond to that request than it would if you have them mixed in with all of your personal emails, where you might have to go through with a black marker and X them out, or
But if Tricia is included in every one of the emails, which she is, doesn't she already have all that?
but she's not included in every one. If you send Bruce an email, that's not, Tricia doesn't have a record of that one. And, you know, and I'm saying that there's two categories. One would be public records, per the public records law, which requires, you know, that would, 3 of the 4 of you would have to be included, and you'd have to just include Trish. If it's an email just between you and Bruce, it's not a public record, but I could see a situation or a lawsuit or something like that where they ask for any and all emails between aldermen concerning the street subject or something like that. And then you'd have to go through your personal email to find that. And that's a stretch, you know.
Well, I'm not doing anything I don't want her to know
yeah.
about. So I pretty much have her on everything.
So,
Okay. Anything else on that one?
That's all I wanted to bring up, because I don't plan on answering if it goes to my Gmail account.
Okay. Any other old business or new business? We have a scheduled budget workshop. We need to have a date, I assume. Trish?
Yes, I would have liked to have had one pretty soon, but it seems at this point that it's almost pointless to have our budget workshop until we have our next sales tax deposit.
Right.
Because it's such a great unknown. So that usually hits the bank on the 6th or the 7th. So the soonest I think we could have one would be like Friday, May 8th, or if you guys were up for a long evening, we could do it before the next board meeting on May 11th, or anytime that week. I would think we need to have one.
What say you, Alderman? And Alderman Herzog?
I could do that Friday day if needed.
I have nothing on that day.
May 8th,
I can do it on the 8th.
May 8th, fine for me.
I think so.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know how things are gonna be at that point.
And we may not get that. If we don't get our deposit and information on the 8th, is it possible, that we wouldn't get it by the 8th? That we would have
Well,
to
I
do it?
guess anything's possible if, I've always had it always hits a May 7th, but
Okay.
it's obviously, I don't know if the
Well, that's what I
state
was
is
asking.
short on employees, and I don't know, so.
Or we
it's
can
a-
cancel a meeting, can't we?
Yeah, and move it.
Yeah.
Let's try the 8th.
What time?
Bruce, what time?
Bruce
You need to
doesn't
be
know.
here.
You call it and I'll do my best to be there. Like I say, I don't
Is this
know
a day
what my
meeting or night
situation's
meeting?
gonna be next, that
What?
week.
Susan's the
Do we
working,
need to put it off
Now,
then?
Susan's
No,
got Friday
no,
off.
go ahead and
you're
schedule
off
it.
on Friday?
I should be fine by
Yeah.
then.
What time you close?
What's good?
No,
I mean, I can make it anytime you guys want, I'm pretty sure. So.
I can make it any time as long as I'm capable of making it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so-
Early evening, say 6 o'clock?
Makes
Do we
no
want to do
difference.
it at night or during the day?
I don't want to give up my Friday night.
Okay.
Sorry.
During the day, you want to do it late
Also
afternoon?
my Friday night.
How about late afternoon?
Is
That's
that late afternoon work? 1
Late
o'clock would
afternoon?
work?
3 o'clock on May the
3
8th.
o'clock.
3 o'clock?
3 okay?
Do my best.
Okay. All right. Anything else? We have citizen comments, and while people may be asking us, I have one comment that was sent in today, which we're going to go ahead and take care of, because we may not have this again. Hopefully, we'll be able to meet in our regular environment for the next meeting. This one comes from Scott McGarrett, and he has 3 points he wants, 3 questions. The first one is obtain additional bids before transferring KVA 69 poles to Central Electric. And as I said, it's not a sale, so I don't really know that it requires a bid, and we're not really selling it, so it's a trade.
We're getting out from under a liability.
Right,
And it's their lines that are on the poles.
Yeah,
right.
it's,
So I really think that answers that. The next one is please delay motion 7D, hiring ordinance enforcement officer. That's not a question, and I think we're going to move forward with that one. The third one is make an announcement whether the city of Herman will make any restrictions for COVID-19 after the May 4th statewide stay-at-home order is lifted. Well, if we do, we certainly will make announcements. We just got it. I'd like to read it again and see what's in it. And I think we need to wait for the health department, because they'll want to be proactive on that. So that's where we stand on that. So that's what I have on that. Motions. We have motions. What about the minutes? What do we want to do with the minutes?
move to approve.
Second?
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. Invoices for payments. Bruce?
Make a motion, we pay the bills.
I'll second.
We have a motion made and seconded to pay the bills. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Bills are paid. Motion C, reappoint Dwayne Cradley and Dan Tetmeyer to the Utility Advisory Board.
I move to approve both gentlemen.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. Motion D, hire Robert Sitten as ordinance enforcement officer. Any motion?
I move to approve Mark Wallace's recommendation for the hiring of Robert Sitten as the ordinance enforcement officer.
Very good.
And I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. Item E, motion to extend June 1 inspection deadline referenced in section 9 of ordinance 2181 to September 1. This was something Trish talked to me, I don't know if she suggested it, but it gives more time, especially in light of the fact that things are a little uncertain as to how this is gonna work out. And that's why that's on here. So, is there any more discussion, or how do you feel about it?
I don't know if we made that clear that it's the guest house inspection deadline that
Okay.
you're talking about.
Thank you, that's right, it's a guest house inspection deadline, and we've just hired a new person. He's gonna take a little time to get up to speed. Mark will work with him, he's got a good background. So, should we go through this and extend it on to September 1st?
Well, with the guest house industry basically being shut down right now, a lot of people work on it and everything, and you're gonna have to give them time to bring everything back up to snuff, so, yeah, I will move to approve it.
Did you say September or is it June 1st?
It's September 1st.
It was June 1st.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay,
So we have a motion made, and are you seconding it, Susan?
yes.
And seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. A motion to extend city facilities and train station orders. Let me say that these run out, or they expire on the 30th, which I believe is it Thursday night or Friday night? Is the 30th of April. We have another ordinance which is in effect until changed. They ought to really be the same, and I would like to see us at least go forward on it and make them the same. Now, if we let it expire, we may decide we want to come back with it. It really doesn't matter to me. I guess what I'm asking for is what do y'all want to do on it?
These would keep the parks and the city offices
The
and
one,
everything else
the one
closed.
we're talking about is the one for the restroom facilities and the train station.
And, isn't that in the same ordinance is basketball courts, tennis courts, pavilions, playgrounds, baseball, soccer, and football
I
fields, and
thought,
public
I
restrooms?
thought the park closure was in it was another motion, Dave?
Well, resolution 1282 is what Trish is saying, that's basketball courts, tennis, pavilions, playgrounds, baseball, soccer, football, and public restrooms, and the train station. Yes.
And I thought one was until further notice, and the other was expired on April
The
30th.
until further notice was the utility shutoffs.
That's right.
That's the
Is
one
that right, Dave? Are you, okay. Well, in that case, they all expire on the same time anyway.
But with the governor coming down with May 4th, I think that we should at least open the restrooms in the park area and the campground. I mean, the campground, are you closed until when, Carol, on the campground? Same thing?
We have it right now until May the 3rd.
Okay, you are, but I think we should go ahead and open that up. That's
Some
just
kids
my
there's some kids want to play baseball, guys, softball, whatever.
Well, I think under the governor's orders, they're gonna get to play it as long as they don't accumulate, there's not, they don't violate the social distancing laws, and,
Everything opens May 4th, correct?
Right.
Yes.
So do we just change it to
you
May
can make it
4th?
May 4th and have it
1 minute
expire.
after midnight.
Yeah.
You wanna make it expire when the stay-at-home expires, and
I think that's probably
Okay.
the problem.
That's how I feel personally.
I think that's a real good idea. So, can we alter this to make it expire, the whole thing expire at 12:01 on
May the
May
4th.
4th? Have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, and a second? Have a motion made and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. Carries, okay, so it goes until 12:01 on May 4th. Good, at least we got it. I was wrong on that, I thought it was two separate things. We did them at two separate times, but it was the same. All right. We have a closed session. So,
I'm sorry, I apologize. It's always easier to do while we're here. Can we go ahead and nail down an alternate date for our budget workshop, since we're all in the same room, just in case the 8th does not work? How
the
about
11th is our
is our board meeting?
board meeting, so
So anytime
if
after-
you want to do it at 6 o'clock or 5.
I prefer to do
we-
it on a different.
Yeah, okay. So you want to do it, if it's not going to be on that night, when do you want it?
But if we do it that Thursday, the
I'm
14th, that gives you a little more time in case it comes late or.
Anybody Thursday evening? Gentlemen?
Thursday the
what?
14th?
Thursday
The 14th?
I'm good with it.
Thursday the 14th?
Yes.
What time?
Go the same way.
Same time?
What time do you get off?
Varies, but I could be here by 6:30.
Okay, Thursday at 6:30.
Okay, that'll be our alternate date. So our first choice will be Friday, May 8th at 3. The alternate date will be Thursday, the 14th at 6:30. Thank you.
Good idea.
I'm glad you thought of that.
I got it.
Okay. Very good. Now, do we have a motion to adjourn to close meeting?
I move we adjourn closed meeting, or open meeting, and go into closed meeting for the purpose of discussions related to negotiations for a contract pursuant to state ordinance.
Okay, I have a motion. I have a second.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. We need a vote. Start with Dave.
Aye.
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 We're now in closed session. Thanks, everyone, and Trish, you can make the proper adjustments.
Trying to go through here, the things I printed off, somewhere I read, I believe in the governor's byline, they suggested to keep all playgrounds closed.
Well, we need to, well, we're okay then. If we're wrong, we'll just, we can amend this, but we didn't do it.
Up to 4.
But I mean, we didn't do it tonight, so.
I
We
wrote
got a
down
few
on my
days.
notebook.